The Senate race. Step one is always to cross out the Green Party and the Peace and Freedom candidates. Don't even waste your time. If you're on crack at the moment, go ahead and vote for one of these two candidates. But for the sober among us, let's move on. Gail K. Lightfoot is the Libertarian candidate and a decent pick, though she obviously has little chance of winning. She's a constitutionalist, favors tax cuts, spending regulations, withdrawal of U.S. troops from overseas. She's actually a pacifist all the way, it seems like. She supports the Second Amendment and seeks to audit the Federal Reserve. Good luck with that. And if you vote for her, she's basically a vote on principle, but nothing's impossible, I suppose. Edward C. Noonan is the American Independent candidate. He's also a vote on principle. He's a big morals guy, traditional values, a Mormon family man. He's a strong constitutionalist, and he's actually my favorite choice on principle. Carly Fiorina is the Republican candidate. She's a businesswoman, a the previous CEO of Hewlett-Packard. She's socially conservative. She's not green wacky. She opposes like cap and trade and wants to weaken the EPA. She opposes universal health care, and on immigration, she says she supports the Arizona law. Unfortunately, she lacks a record to predict what she'll actually do. Barbara Boxer is the Democratic candidate. She is a proven disaster. She voted for bailouts. She voted no on an amendment that required a balanced budget. I don't know why she would do that, but she supports other bad legislation like irrational hate crimes laws, costly and impractical environmental laws, and she has a liberal open-door policy on immigration. She's a tax and spender, she's big on racial politics, she's actually okay on crime, and she's socially liberal all the way. Barbara Boxer is bad. What's worse is in her statements box where she talks about her desire to create good California jobs. Right. In fact, I think her name is Boxer because she punches small businesses in the kidneys. I think she should get the Golden Glove Award for her knockout of the American economy. Granted, she didn't do it single-handedly. She helped it along pretty well. While I like Edward C. Noonan for California Senator, I'm casting my vote for Carly Fiorina, which I think of more as a vote against Barbara Boxer. The governor's race. The first thing to do again is completely ignore the Green Party candidate and the Peace and Freedom candidate and move on to the real candidates. Dale F. Ogden is the Libertarian candidate. He's got standard libertarian positions. Like all libertarians, he's focused on cutting spending, lowering taxes, taming regulation, reducing the number of employees at most state agencies, reducing excessive state salaries, legalizing and taxing marijuana. For some reason, all libertarians seem to be obsessed with legalizing marijuana. I don't know why, but whatever. In general, he's socially indifferent, has moderate views on the environment, and is a small government supporter. He wants to cut down on welfare, and he supports the Second Amendment, which again is gun rights. Shalene Nightingale is the American Independent candidate. She supports homeschools. She's heavy on controlling immigration and enforcing immigration law, a big supporter of the free market. She supports a state bank, which is a little questionable. She wants less taxation and regulation and is considering a flat tax. She wants to protect small businesses and agriculture. She's a strong social conservative, a rejecter of political correctness, a constitutionalist, a believer in small government, in keeping environmentalism in check, and she also appears to be pro-legalization of marijuana. And then, of course, there's Jerry Brown, the Democrat, and Meg Whitman, the Republican. I'm really not going to go into the details on these two. The way I see it, Jerry Brown would be like getting your face bashed in with a baseball bat, and Meg Whitman would be more like getting your face bashed in with a crowbar. So, yeah, you can pick your poison on those two. I'm still considering my vote for governor at this point. The lieutenant governor race. In case you don't know, the lieutenant governor is basically a vice governor. Additionally, the lieutenant governor contributes to the Economic Development Commission, the State Lands Commission, and the California University System. The first thing to do is cross out the Green Party candidate and the Peace and Freedom candidate. Pamela J. Brown is the Libertarian candidate. Much like the other libertarians we've discussed, but with a couple twists, she's fairly environmental. She supports homeschooling and school choice, and she's a decent option in my opinion. She's actually my vote for lieutenant governor. Gavin Newsom is the Democratic candidate. No way. His ideas of good government are universal higher education and universal preschool. Gee, that sounds affordable right now. That'll snatch us right out of this recession. He supports death by 1,000 environmental laws. He's endorsed by the California Teachers Union, which is like being endorsed by the Spanish Inquisition. And he plans to perpetuate typical liberal spending with budget plans like $240,000 for transgender employment programs. Ah, thanks, Gavin. That's just what we needed. Abel Maldonado is the Republican candidate. He's kind of the dull, safe choice. He's the incumbent lieutenant governor, and he opposes higher taxes and government waste, which is good, I guess. He supports spending caps. He supports keeping California fees and tuition down and resisting rate hikes. He's largely okay, but mostly someone I at least would choose via process of elimination. He seems to give mostly fluff answers, which is to say he's a polished politician. And that's pretty much all I can say about him. I don't strongly favor any of these candidates, but I'm most strongly against Gavin Newsom, so I'll vote for either Pamela J. Brown or Abel Maldonado. I still have to think some more. But those are the facts as I have them so far. The Secretary of State, Controller, Treasurer, Attorney General, and Insurance Commissioner races. In the interest of time and practicality, I'm not going to review these races individually. The best thing I can tell you to do right now is, 1, ignore the Peace and Freedom Party and Green Party candidates at all times. And as far as the rest of the options, I recommend that you vote down party lines. I know it sounds bad, and I'm usually against this, but for these jobs, I'm not sure how much difference it will make. You can read all of their statements in the book, but I think it's fairly safe to say that if you're a Democrat, to vote for Democrats. If you're a Republican, to vote for Republicans, and if you're a Libertarian, then vote for Libertarians. If you're a Green Partier or Peace and Freedom Partier, move to China, or better yet, move to Cuba so that you can get some of that excellent government health care. Nothing like some good time Cuban surgery. Board of Equalization race. The Board of Equalization basically regulates business taxation in California. For this one, I would say vote down party lines again, but not Green Party or Peace and Freedom Party. Each California district has their own representative for the Board of Equalization. I'm in District 3, along with most people in Los Angeles County, Orange County, Riverside County, and San Bernardino County, and I support Michelle Steele for the Board of Equalization because she focuses on disciplined spending and cutting waste, balancing the budget without higher taxes, auditing the government on behalf of small businesses, and she's endorsed by the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. As a quick note, you may notice that I repeatedly snubbed the Green and Peace and Freedom parties. And here in the Board of Equalization race is a primary example of why. All throughout the book, you have the candidates giving their ideas on how to improve California. They talk about their beliefs, their goals, and their records. And even Barbara Boxer and Gavin Newsom at least pretend that they want to do good things. Meanwhile, Nancy Lawrence of the District 4 Peace and Freedom Party has just 3 words in her statement box. Tax the rich. Really? Is that all you can think to say? This is the problem with socialists and their class warfare rhetoric. This helps nobody and makes no sense. This is why I simply ignore these people.